Hi there, this is Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, September 12th, 2021. I'm doing things a little bit differently just for today, just for this week, because I got into some poison ivy when I was gardening this week, and it's all over my face, and it's just made me kind of itchy and miserable, and I don't want to be on camera for very long. So I thought I would start today by showing you a few ways that you can find out more about me, starting with my website here, psychedupmovement.com. So I've got all kinds of things about my services. I post these videos here as well. So if you want to know more about me and my services, my work, please check out this website. Also, in this last week, with the new moon, I started a new thing, little 1 minute videos that I post on my Instagram page, Karen Marie Psychic. And also, I've been posting it on my professional Psyched Up page on Facebook. So if you follow or like either one of these, you can listen in on these 1 minute daily videos where I talk about the transits for the day that pop out at me, especially the moon and where it's at and what it's going to be leading us to do on a daily basis. So that's been really fun for me to add that to my life. Like I said, Instagram, Karen Marie Psychic, and then there's my website. So I'm going to just do the transits this week. So I'm going to bring up my chart in order to do that. And so this is my birth chart in the middle. And the transits, which is the only thing I'm going to be talking about, are in green around the outside. So today we have the sun at 20 degrees of Virgo. So Virgo is an earth sign. It's ruled by Mercury, which rules the head. So often when we have planets in Virgo, we have a tendency to crawl up in our heads a little bit. The positive is Virgos are very organized, or they can be. They have the predisposition to be organized and keep things in order. They're natural helpers. Virgo rules the hands, so we may want to do things with our hands when we've got planets in Virgo. On a downside, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which rules the head, we can be extra critical and focused on flaws, and it's attention to detail on a positive, but being too overly critical on the negative. So if you've experienced any of these things, you are feeling the sun moving through Virgo. And if you've got planets in Virgo, then you may be feeling this extra strong. On the last decan here is 20 through 29, which is where the sun has just started. So it'll be moving through this last decan. The last decan is really about the future of any sign. Like whenever in any sign, the last decan from 20 to 29 degrees is how that sign is going to be showing up or plans for the future. So Virgo can be planning, organizing, getting things in order. So you may your thoughts may be going to, how can I get ready for my future? What's coming up? What do I need to do to prepare? We have Mars also, right now it's at 28 degrees of Virgo, and Mars will move into Libra on Tuesday of this week, the 14th. So she's in the last, or he is really a male energy of Mars. It's the masculine principle for within each of us, whereas Venus is the feminine principle. Venus has just moved into Scorpio, where she'll be for a while. So when Mars moves into Libra on Tuesday, both of these planets will be in what's called their detriment. And what does that mean? So Venus has two rulers. Taurus is one of her rulers. Libra is the other. So she's just been in Libra where she was home. But when she moves into Scorpio, she's in her detriment across from her home sign of Taurus, right? So planets are typically more weak when they're in their detriment. And Mars, which is ruled by Aries, or is a ruler of Aries, will also be in his detriment. So it's interesting. We'll have both of these signs at their detriment, but they can be working together to show new areas in our life. So Mars is about how we take action, how we put energy into things. It's our ego. So in this last couple degrees over the last these next couple days in Virgo, it can be like we can really feel compelled to get something done, to finish something, to complete something that we've started. When it moves into Libra, it moves into an air sign, and Libra's the scales. It goes back and forth, and Libra's about connections with others, whereas Aries on the other side here is about self and what do I need to do for me. So when Mars moves into Libra, one of the positive things of that is that we may feel more compelled to take action for others. That can be a positive. We can often slow up our progress, though, because we can get stuck in the head in Libra of weighing things out. Well, do I want to do this or do I want to that? Do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? So there's this energy of the Mars in Libra, which brings attention and our energy focus into relationships in terms of where we want to take action. It opens up communication as well. We've already got Mercury here in Libra. It's at 17 degrees. She's moving through the shadow. Mercury is moving through the shadow, which means at the end of this month, Mercury will go retrograde. It'll be 25 degrees when it turns around and starts going backwards. It'll go all the way back to 10 degrees. So Mercury has begun to show what it'll be teaching when it goes retrograde, because it's going over this part of the skies. It'll go over this 3 times. It's going over it now forwards. It'll go backwards when it's retrograde, and it'll go back forward again once it goes direct again. So it'll be into November before Mercury finally leaves Libra. And so it's parked here. So these lessons of relationships, which you've just been learning as Venus has moved through it, we're going to keep working on it. We're going to work on new aspects of it. Now that Venus has moved into Scorpio, these are the deep, dark waters. This is the hidden secrets. This is the dark night of the soul. It can be. It's psychic. Scorpio is very psychic, very intuitive. So we may find that our approach to relationships becomes more intuitive, more psychic. We may find that secrets are revealed in our relationships with Venus moving through Scorpio. We've got the moon in the beginning degrees of Sag. Actually, it's moved up to the second decan now as I record this. It moved over the south node today, earlier on Sunday. So you may have had past life flashbacks. You may have run into someone that you have, or had communication with someone where you have a past life connection. So later on, she's going to be moving here in the next few hours. We'll move over Juno. Juno is the good wife. In Greek mythology, she was Zeus's wife, but she was very jealous and possessive. But in an astrological chart, Juno can represent what we look for in relationships, what we want our spouse or significant other to bring in. So when a planet goes over Juno, like the moon, which illuminates, brings our intuition and feelings, it can all be about, what do I want in relationships? You may have some downloads, insights into your current relationship if you're in a partnership, or what you're looking for or what you don't want in partnership as the moon goes over this. As she moves in through the next couple of days, she's moving through Sag. 27 degrees of Sag is where the galactic center is. So she'll be crossing this on Monday, I believe. So this is, anytime a planet crosses the galactic center, there could be something that happens on the world stage. So just look out for that here in the next couple of days as the moon moves over that. See if something doesn't happen. Moon can also represent the people. And so see what happens. I'm always curious to sit and watch what happens when a planet crosses over this galactic center. So the moon will be doing that over the next day or two. We've also got Pluto here in Capricorn, retrograde at 24 degrees. We have Saturn in Aquarius, backed up now to 7 degrees, also retrograde. Jupiter is retrograde at 24 degrees of Aquarius. And then we have Neptune retrograde at 21 degrees of Pisces. Uranus is retrograde at 14 degrees. So all the outer planets, all the slow moving outer planets are all retrograde right now. So this is what I see is when planets are retrograde, the outer ones in particular, they're teachers. I see all the planets as teaching us, illuminating, shining the light in certain areas. So when these outer planets though are retrograde, they're not teaching us anything new. It's kind of like it's review time. So Pluto is reviewing, where is power and control issues showing up in your life. um, it's been already revealed where you may be having power struggles. When Pluto's retrograde, it's sitting back and like, okay, so what are you going to do about these areas of your life where you see that you don't have control? um, a lot of life's lessons are, what do we control, what can we control, what can we not control? Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn is really about leadership, people who have power over us, government, you know, the old male patriarchal system, um, can be highlighted. I believe it's crumbling. That's what I believe, is Pluto is moving through these last degrees of Capricorn. I'm going to be so grateful when Pluto moves into Aquarius. I think we're going to really shift out of some of these old paradigms and into some new ones. Saturn is already there, helping us restructure, refocus. Saturn's the boundaries, the stop sign where we say no, where we set up order in our lives. And so she is in Aquarius, which is about vibing with others. It's about humanity. So we've all been called to restructure, rethink our lives and how we interact with the world around us, right? Jupiter is a beneficent. It's a bringer of good luck, good energy. So it's also retrograde. It's also our belief systems. So it's retrograde right now. Um, causing us to go back over, what do we believe? Is that really true? I'm not sure. A lot of people have been changing up what they believe to be true with this Jupiter in Aquarius. um, Neptune in Pisces. Neptune, I see Neptune along with the moon as the most psychic of the planets. On a positive side, Neptune is the psychic radar. It is spiritual downloads, psychic downloads. It's being able to tap into spirit, tap into psychic abilities, receive things in a psychic way. In Pisces, it really emphasizes spiritual um, connections. On the downside, Neptune can represent illusion, delusion, fuzzy thinking, not being able to see things clearly. Things dissolve or can be removed when Neptune's in Pisces. Neptune and Pisces are another highlight of Neptune and Pisces is mucus and congestion can really show up and happen. Boy, we haven't with the COVID situation, that's definitely been showing up. We also have Chiron retrograde. It's not an outer planet, it's an asteroid. It's the wounded healer. Where Chiron is in the chart is helping us heal something. And Aries, in the second decan of Aries, it's helping us heal our connections and relationships with others. The glyph looks like a key. So Chiron, once we heal the woundedness, it becomes a place of strength. So wherever Chiron is in your natal chart is where you will have experienced wounding from childhood. It's past life wounding. So it shows up early usually. And it's where we have the repetitive patterns where we end up feeling re-wounded over and over and over again. The transiting Chiron is helping us all. In Aries, it's all healing our relationships to ourself. It was doing in the first decan, and then the second decan, it's healing our relationships with others. So you may find that theme showing up in a lot of places, especially this week with Mercury here in Libra, which is about relating to others. Mars, which will be moving into Libra on Tuesday, relating to others, how we take action. And then Venus in Scorpio is also about how we relate to others. So there's a strong emphasis on relationships this week. I really feel at Venus in Scorpio, you can dive deep in your relationships and have some deep conversations with all these planets here in the Libra and the Scorpio realm. It's an opportunity to take your relationships to a greater depth. You may also be able to, you may be going through a dark night of the soul in your relationships and saying, F this, I just cannot do this any longer. Um, Another highlight of this week that we're going to be heading into, the same day that Mars goes into Libra on Tuesday, we're going to have an opposition between the sun here, which will be at 22 degrees, and Neptune. We'll actually begin to feel this tomorrow, 13, and we'll probably feel this for a few days. So the sun opposite Neptune is a tug of war, right? The sun illuminates, Neptune can take things away. So it can be just things all of a sudden sort of disappearing, or what you thought you were seeing is not what is actually the truth here. Again, the sun can emphasize the positive or the negative end of the planet it's across from. So the delusions can be just, people can be caught up in their addiction or the delusional thinking. On the other side, you can have a big aha reveal about some area that has been foggy and fuzzy, and all of a sudden you see it clearly, and it's like, oh, I can't ignore this any longer. It really has a, because of this sort of foggy effect and the moon over here, Mars going into Libra, it'll be at 0 degrees that day. We may just feel offline for a few days this week. Like, just like we may just want to dive into bed, or spiritual practice would be a better way to take this energy, but you may not feel motivated to take action once the initially when Mars goes into Libra. You may just feel like, I just kind of comatose energy. So, if you experience that over the next few days, just know it will pass. Um, but that can definitely be happening. Okay, so we have some backdrop energy all year long. We've been having Eris, which in Greek mythology, she was not invited to the wedding that everybody else was invited to, and she came and made her presence known and just tore the whole thing up. So she represents, standing up for your rights, protest, particularly in a square off with Pluto, which is death and transformation. We've been seeing this since last year, protests taking to the streets, not just in our country, but all around the world. This continues through the rest of this year. So, opposition to the power and control shows up, right? And that's one of the squares that we have ongoing right now. Another square we have ongoing is Uranus, the great awakener. It's one of the rulers of Aquarius. It's the maverick doing things outside the box. Uranus comes in with curveballs. And it's been squaring Saturn all year. It'll have another direct square the day before Christmas. We had our first direct square, exact square, I won't say instead, back in February when we had the great freeze here in Texas and everything was shut down, stuck. Saturn, surprise, unexpected things. Also, Uranus is in Taurus, the sign that represents the earth. So since Uranus, it takes 7 to 8 years to transit a sign. So at 14 degrees, it's like almost halfway through its transit. And it has been churning up the earth over the last 3 years. Have you noticed that the fires, the volcanoes, the earthquakes, the floods, the natural disaster from hurricane, that's just been upped? I unfortunately feel like that's just going to keep increasing as Uranus here continues its transit through Taurus. So, this theme of unexpected, out of nowhere things on the planet Earth will be continuing. And the Great Awakener, sudden unexpected things squaring off with how you form things, can be very disconcerting, right? And so we've had a surprise with COVID, right? Shutting us all down. Saturn. That's one of the ways where the square is shown up as well, and will continue through the rest of this year. So we've got some squares that are pretty intense that we're all under underneath, as it were, or it's the backdrop. And so at any point, this protest, transformation, death energy can show up, or out of nowhere, things that change up how we do things can be showing up. So those are some of the highlights of what's going on right now in the chart. Um, like I said, the moon in Sag crosses over the galactic center Monday and then moves into Capricorn by Tuesday. And it'll be conjunct Pholus, which is an asteroid which is an initiating spark. It can often be in your own chart where you can shoot yourself in the foot, or where you can instigate or get things started. I just feel this volatile energy. And just, and people, we're over being locked down, right? We're over being stuck in our houses. Like, we're over all this power and control issues that make us want to just throw our hands up and scream. So there's just a lot of restlessness in general on the planet. And if you're the least bit psychic, you will be picking up on this energy this week. So again, if you're feeling offline when when the sun is opposing Neptune, it's not you, you're not cray cray. If you feel adrift a bit when Mars moves into Libra, same thing. Venus in Scorpio here going into, it's like Persephone going into the underworld. It could be feeling like a dark night of the soul in your relationships, or an opportunity to dive deeper. Communications are highlighted. Yeah, these are the major transits that I see for this week. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Again, I'm not feeling all that great dealing with this poison ivy. I'm super allergic, so it just makes me feel extra irritable personally. But I appreciate all of those of you who have liked, subscribed to this YouTube channel and listen to it every week and share it with your friends. Appreciate that greatly. Tune into my daily 1-minute videos that I'm posting on Instagram and Facebook. And you guys have a great week. I'll see you next week.